Welcome back to Heard Tell. I'm Andrew Donaldson. Let's go to the Washington Post. Here's something interesting. Everybody's been talking about the labor market and work and how things have changed since COVID. It's the Washington Post, and they're going at it from this angle. They're saying that, and I'm quoting here, U.S. workers have gotten way less productive, but no one is sure why. That's the headline. Bosses and economists are troubled by the worst drop in U.S. worker output since 1947. Taylor Telford wrote this piece in the Washington Post. It's long. Read the whole thing. Decide for yourself. Like we always said, we're going to link to it. Read it for yourself. I'm going to dive down about halfway down through here. I want to talk about part of this. No one knows or will know what is causing the drop-off in productivity for some time, says economist Larry Summers, president emeritus of Harvard University. You've seen him on TV. But it could have something to do with the fact that many employees, quote, were working unsustainably hard in 2021. That's, of course, the COVID pandemic years. Some workers are paring back. There's a highly empowered workforce that is engaged in a certain amount of quiet quitting. That's creating a certain amount of absenteeism. This is Larry Summers quoting here. On and off the job, end quote, that is probably leading to lower productivity. There are many theories on why productivity has nosedived. No one knows what to do with this tight labor market, and employees gain substantial leverage amid the labor shortage. Employees gain substantial leverage amid the labor shortage, with many exercising their power by participating in the Great Resignation or setting more boundaries at work through quiet quitting. Companies often losing high performers who are finding jobs with higher wages and more flexibility. Another theory is that workers are just in a productivity funk. Hold that thought. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. Since the pandemic started, the link between hard work and reward has been broken for many workers, Berber said, and the result is a curbed ambition. Workers are probably encountering more leniency about producing less goods and services because it's too hard for employees to replace them. People are missing work hours or showing up late, but companies can't do anything about it because it's so hard to replace people right now. Instead of one strike, you're out. It's 10 strikes, and maybe you'll be out. Mentions of burnout are also up 42%, according to a Glassdoor survey compared with 2019 data. Mentions of overwork are up 12. You have to expect that takes a toll on people's productivity, Taranza said. This is a quote. This year's productivity decline came after a strong 2021. In the first quarter last year, worker productivity grew 4.3%, one of the highest rates in years. And that slowed to a following quarter of 2.3, which is nearly double the feasible productivity rate from 27 to 2008. Much of that boost was probably the coronavirus recession, though, people think, and then there was a surge after. What do we do with all this? I want to go back to something there that was mentioned real quick. Now, I've been a worker. I've also been in leadership and supervision and management of workers. So I've kind of been on both ends of this one a time or two. Are workers just in a productivity funk? Maybe. Why would that be? It was also in here. There are many theories, according to the piece, why productivity has nosedived, and now you have a tight labor market. Can I offer a couple of theories here? Now, these are just my humble but accurate opinion on a few things. We've been talking a lot about the labor problem in America. One of the reasons you're having a labor problem in America is you're having a management and supervision problem in American businesses. Now, what do I mean by that? COVID did something to change the psyche of the American worker that we have not seen probably since the Great Depression, except in very small sectors and doses. And so almost all American workers found out really quick whether they were valuable or not. You remember, you heard it all over the news over and over again. Oh, these are essential employees. They cannot be let go. Remember, they put out the big signs outside of hospitals, heroes work here. We had the debate over school closures because we didn't want to put teachers and parents and other people at risk. We'll hash that out some other time. But at the same time, let me just give you an example from my own personal experience. The elementary school and high school for our school district sits directly across the street from a shopping center where there's a grocery store is kind of the main hedge, and then there's, the fast food restaurants and other places. So all throughout COVID, the schools were closed down. We were told everybody going over there, that's a death zone. We can't go there. And yet the exact same groups of people congregated right across the street at the grocery store every single day. And I saw this personally. The teachers, the school employees, all those folks that could not go to work because it's so dangerous had to go through the grocery store where the essential grocery store workers had to go to work whether they wanted to or not, making less money, hourly money, a lot of them on minimum wage or slightly better. You do realize everybody noticed that dynamic, especially the workers who couldn't call in remote work, who couldn't go just work online. They have to show up to the grocery store and work at the grocery store. And it's an essential job, they were told, but that just means they have to work and often work even more for the same prices. People noticed that. They noticed who did have to work and who didn't have to work. In our media, especially our news media and on our social media, remote work became a huge deal. But there's a lot of folks out there that cannot work remotely, and it did make a divide. It made a haves and have nots. People noticed. They notice who has jobs that can let's just call this what it is, mostly more things like tech jobs, service side jobs, marketing jobs, managerial jobs. Higher paying jobs are more likely to be able to be worked remotely. And a lot of the service sector folks that work hourly, you notice they were essential. They have to go to work. So, of course, once the pandemic eases, those folks all have internet. They know what's going on. They can talk to each other. They saw what happened and they had that learned experience. And a lot of them said, screw this. We're not going to take this anymore. And they started finding better jobs and they started demanding better wages and better benefits. And when certain companies had better wages and benefits, they went running over there and got them. The world has changed. Everybody has in their hand a cell phone that can give them all the information on any company at any time they want, and they can talk to employees. The days of keeping your employees locked down are over. But I don't think the management class and the supervisor class and the CEO class and the upward parts of major corporations class has quite caught on what's going on in the working class to middle class to lower management to middle management levels. They know everything now. You can't snow job them with a PowerPoint. You can't just say something is when it isn't. And the way they were treated during the COVID pandemic matters a lot to those people. A lot of them lost jobs. A lot of them lost hours. A lot of them had to quit to take care of their families because their kids weren't in school. A lot of hourly people, those folks that work, 20 to 50 hours a week, give or take, in swing shifts and peak hours, things like this at minimum wage and up service jobs, those people got crushed and they didn't come back, a lot of them. We have a thing in our country right now where we try to broad brush things like labor because we need to fit it into a news story, and we're missing one of the major stories. All these different groups of labor in the workforce, all these different groups of people, all these different stratas of the economic chain, all of those folks have unique needs. And because of things like social media and the internet and news media, and the pandemic showed them this, they all found out they have a lot more power than they thought they had. And management hasn't adjusted yet. So when you go back into the office, let me just be blunt from somebody that's managed an office and worked in an office. You know what one of the biggest productivity killers in an office is? It's the office. You always got a meeting to go to, or you always got a manager you got to talk to, or you got this and this and this. It's hard to work in an office. Some folks are more productive when they're at home. The reverse is true. Some people can't work at home because they can't be disciplined. They need to be in an office. But that's what we're talking about. The economy is complicated. Workers are complicated, and workers are more informed than ever as to those complications. And they've started to learn how to leverage them to get what they need. Managers, CEOs, supervisors, HR folks, hiring people, you better adapt because the workers aren't going to put up with it anymore. They're going to find out whether this other company is doing the same thing you're doing. And if they're not, and they pay better and they have better benefits and they're not going to drive them crazy, they're going to vote with their feet. There's some adjustments that need to be done here. It's not all on the workers. More Hertel right after this.